Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Naptown Hustle. Today we're playing Pauper Duel Commander. Pauper Duel Commander is just like regular Commander for 2-player, except for the Commander has to be any uncommon creature and the rest of the cards in the deck are all commons. This is part of a Pauper Duel Commander League that we're playing on Discord. The link to the Discord's in the description below if you want to join. We are entering into week 8 now, so you'll be able to play 3 matches with the League if you join now. This is week 7. I'm playing Lagrella the Magpie versus Danny the Dinosaur, who's playing Keleth and Rograkh, or Red Horse, or Kobold Horse, or what is he calling it now? Friendship is Magic. Anyway, the deck is the Boros Aggro deck of the format. It's very fast. It's attacking on turn 2. Lagrelle is a mid-range deck that focuses on enter the battlefield abilities, and it's supposed to be good against aggro, so we'll see how that goes. This is played on Cockatrice, so it's not the prettiest ever, but I try to fast forward through any of the break. So without anything else, let's jump into it. I start off on the play, but unfortunately I decide I can't keep this hand, and I take a mulligan. Unfortunately, my mulligan only has 1 land in it, so I decide I'm going to have to go down to 5. Not very good when you're playing against a super aggressive deck. My third hand is pretty decent, actually, so I move a creature to the bottom and the curfew to the bottom. And I stick with 3 lands, a blocker, and a kill spell. And actually, he was on the play. He opens with a tap land and passes back. And his Rograkh, as always. My turn, I play a tap land also. One of the new gate cards. Or maybe I grab this Grove. They're the same thing. And I make it green and I believe white. On his turn, he untaps and draws, plays a Plains, and he plays his Horse, attacking with Rograkh for 1. And he scries. My turn, I untap and draw, and I play the Plains. I decide, rather than holding up for the Edict, I'm going to put in a blocker, the Porcelain Legionnaire, which is a 3/1 with first strike, and for 2 if you pay 2 life. He comes in with his first strike guy, who also has Menace, and I cannot block it, and I take another 2, so I'm at 3 now. And then he plays a Doom Traveler, which is pretty bad for my Edict plan. I draw the Palace Sentinel. On my turn, I play another one of the tap lands. This one's the Gate. And after much thought, I make it a blue-green land. I pass there and decide to block and play that Edict. He comes in with the Doom Traveler and the Rograkh. I decide that I'm going to block before I play my Edict, which is a Celestial Flare, by the way. I block the Doom Traveler. He does have a combat trick, which I thought he might, and so then I play the Celestial Flare, forcing him to either sacrifice the Doom Traveler, which he targeted, or the Rograkh. He ends up picking the Doom Traveler. The Rograkh hits me for 3 now, and he makes a Spirit Token. At the end of his turn, he suspends a Rift Bolt. He passes, I untap and draw, play another tap land. This is a Thriving Heath, which I make into white-blue. And then I play Lagrella for 3. Well, first I decide I'm going to attack with the Porcelain Legionnaire. I felt pretty safe about it. Since I didn't think he'd want to use his removal on it. He takes 3, and then I play my Lagrella, trying to pick up the Porcelain Legionnaire and the Rograkh. He responds with a Lightning Bolt, targeting the Lagrella. At this point, we had to look up the new ruling on the new enter the battlefield effects, the way they're worded. After much research, which I cut out, we decided that the ability never happens if Lagrella dies before the ability resolves. So Lagrella does not exile the Porcelain Legionnaire and does not exile Rograkh at all. And then he ends up using the suspended Riftbolt on the Porcelain Legionnaire, attacks an enchantment to the Spirit token, and he comes in for 8, I believe, taking me to 9. And basically putting me in a pretty rough spot. My turn, I play a Plains, and then I cut out a pretty long period of me thinking and trying to do some math. I decide that I think I can survive and go to 1 this turn, and so I decided to go for that route, and I exile his Rograkh with a Journey to Nowhere. And then I play a Witness Protection on the Keleth. And both those resolve, and I pass. He attacks for 3 in the air, taking me to 3. And the Keleth for 2 on the ground. And then he plays the Rograkh. And he passes. On my turn, I play my Plains and recast Lagrella, trying to pick up the Spirit token. He responds by sacrificing Inferno Fist to deal 2 to me, taking me to 1. And I pass. He untaps and draws, plays a removal spell on Lagrella, and kills me. This time I'll be on the play, and I draw a pretty good opener and decide to keep it. I play a fetch land as my first land and go grab a Plains and pass. He plays a Survivor's Encampment and Rograkh, and then taps Rograkh to play a Benevolent Bodyguard. And passes. I play a Forest, and then I pay 2 for my 2/1 that has Outlast, and anything with a counter on it gets first strike. Enoch Bondkin. On his turn, he plays his horse and then attacks for 1 menace first strike trample with Rograkh. On my turn, I play my island, and I play Lagrella, picking up the Enoch Bondkin and his Rograkh. And he sacrifices his bodyguard to give it protection from blue. So I still pick up my Enoch Bondkin, and he keeps his commander. He attacks for 2 menace, and I take it. And in the second main phase, he pays 2 for a Akai Ember Keeper, which makes spirits when something with counters dies. My turn, I play that Plains, and then I pay 1 for Sunlance. I decide to target the Rograkh, and thinking back about all these games, I think killing Keleth is almost always the correct line of play, because Keleth is what's making Rograkh and Keleth so big. I took out Rograkh here, and then I pay 2 for a Temple Acolyte, gaining 3 life, and I pass. He plays a tap land. And he pays 2 for his Rograkh. And then he pays 1 for Fanatical Firebrand. On my turn, I untap and I draw and I play a forest. And I decide to end there. He knows something's up, and he plays a land for his turn. And then he plays Reckless Abandon, sacrificing the Spirit token, targeting the Temple Acolyte. I pay 3 for an Acrobatic maneuver, targeting Lagrella. He does not have anything, so it happens. I draw a card, Lagrella leaves, the Bondkin comes back and gets 2 counters, and Lagrella comes back, targeting the Temple Acolyte and Keleth. After the game, he says that he wishes he would have targeted the Bondkin here with the Fanatical Firebrand in response to the trigger. He plays a Brimstone Volley targeting Lagrella, and I pay 2 for the Pegasus Guardian, or the adventure half of it, targeting Lagrella also, flickering it so it comes back and does not get killed by the volley. He doesn't have anything, so it happens. I exile the Pegasus Guardian for adventure, and then I pick up the Temple Acolyte and I pick up Keleth. He puts Keleth to the command zone instead. And then he passes. On my turn, I untap and draw, and I go straight to combat and attack with the 4-2, 4-3 first strike Bondkin. He takes it, and I go to main phase 2. And I play a forest as my land for turn, and then pay the adventure half, or the regular creature half, of the Pegasus Guardian. And I pass. He pays 4 for a Skinwing, which makes a Germ token. It's a 2-2 flyer for now. And he ends. On my turn, I play a Plains as my land for turn. And then I decide to go to combat and attack with the Lagrella and the Bondkin. He does not block, and I ninjutsu in Ninja of the Deep Hours, returning Lagrella to my hand, drawing a card, which returns Temple Acolyte to play with 2 counters, and gains me 3 life. Draw a land, which I play, and I think I might have already played a land this turn, so that might be cheating. I then end my turn, and I make a Pegasus token for the Guardian, and I pass. On his turn, he pays 4 for the horse. And he ends the turn. I draw a momentary blink, and then I decide to go to combat. I attack with the Bondkin, the Acolyte, and the Guardian, which has flying. The Acolyte and the Bondkin both have first strike. He blocks the Guardian with the Skinwing, and he decides to take the rest, and he goes to 8. My second main phase, I play Lagrella, targeting Keleth and the Ninja of the Deep Hours. He has a Thunderclap and targets Lagrella, and I have a momentary blink, which I use to target Lagrella. That happens, Lagrelle leaves and comes back, and I choose the same targets. So it picks up the Ninja of the Deep Hours, and he also gives it Keleth. I then end the turn, and he realizes he should have made a spirit token for the Ember Keeper, which I believe I said is fine. He tries to kill the Guardian with the ping from the... I can't read whatever it's called. I respond with the Deputy of Acquittals, bouncing the Guardian back to my hand. And so I do not get a Pegasus token this turn. On his turn, he pays 4 for Crimson Fleet Commodore, getting Monarch and drawing a card, and passes. My turn, I untap and draw, and I decide to go to combat and attack with everything. He blocks the Bond Keeper with the Rograkh, and he blocks the Deputy of Acquittals with the Ember Keeper. Damage happens, and his 2 creatures die, and my Deputy of Acquittals dies. On his turn, he plays the Plains and attaches the Skinwing to the Crimson Fleet Commodore and goes to combat, and I respond with a Curfew, and he decides that's the end, and he scoops. Game 3, he's going to be on the play. I draw a pretty good opening hand, and I decide to keep it. It doesn't have removal, but it has the lands I need, and it has the Swordcoast Serpent in case I need to bounce something, and then I should be able to play Lagrella on turn 3. He opens with a Mountain, a creature that gives Rograkh haste, and Rograkh. I play a tap land, gain a life, and pass back. On turn 2, he plays Keleth, gives it haste, and attacks for 3 already with Rograkh and Keleth. Feeling very behind already, I untap and draw. And I play my command tower as land for turn. And then pay 2 for a Bondkin. On his turn, he plays a Plains, and he attacks with everything, making Keleth a 3/3 and Rograkh a 2/3. I take it, and he plays a Haunted Witness and passes. On my turn, I play a Forest, and I try to play Lagrella to pick up the Bondkin and Rograkh. Again, I probably should have tried to pick up Keleth, but it doesn't matter because he has a Benevolent Blessing, giving Rograkh protection from blue, which turned out to be prescient because my Swordcoast Serpent gets pretty bad. I still pick up the Bondkin, and I pass back. On his turn, he untaps and draws. And he plays a Plains as the land for turn. And he attacks with everything. I decide to block the Keleth, and my creature dies, and I take 5, going to 12. The Bond King comes in with 2+1 counters, and first strike. In second main phase, he pays the most brutal card I've ever played against, Tavern Brawler, which I think they made just for this deck. My turn, I untap and draw. And looking at my cards, I decide I think I'm pretty dead. I play a Plains, and I decide to hold up the Sorko Serpent and the Whitemane Lion, and I pass. Tavern Brawler triggers twice. The first one is a Galvanic Arc, and the second one is a Burst Lightning. The Galvanic Arc gives Rograkh +3, and the Burst Lightning gives Keleth +1, and then he can play both of those this turn. He plays the Galvanic Arc on the Haunted Witness, and it deals 3 to the Bondkin. I decide to save the Bondkin with a Whitemane Lion, mainly because I just need a blocker here. And then he goes to combat. Before combat, I play the Sword Coast Serpent, trying to bounce Keleth. He responds with a God's Willing, giving it protection from blue. Keep in mind, this is my turn 4. He attacks with the 2 commanders, and I block Keleth, and I take 4, going to 8. I lose the lion, and he passes back. I forgot about the Tavern Brawler, so I had to take an extra 3 there, going to 5. On my turn 5, I do not have very many options. After thinking for quite a while, I come up with a line that I think will let me survive a turn. Which involves the Llanowar Visionary, which draws a Fall from Favor, which I can't play. And then I pay 2 for the Bondkin. On his turn, he untaps and draws and triggers Tavern Brawler again. Oppressive Rays goes to Rograkh, and Mountain goes to Keleth. He plays the Mountain. And he attacks with everything. I decided to scoop there because I don't think I can block in any way that keeps me alive. And even if I did stay alive, I don't think I can win from here. So, good game to Danny. That deck is really, really fast, especially when it's on the play. Those are really tough games. So, great job. He is currently undefeated in the tournament, 6-0. So, he's doing awesome. The deck's really great. It's been a lot of fun to watch that play. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you want to join the league, the link to the Discord is in the description below. You can message TheEDH on Discord, and he will get you into the league for the last 3 weeks. It's been a lot of fun. Here are the standings currently, if you're interested in seeing them. This is actually after the results of the match you just watched. Thank you for watching this all the way to the end. If you got something out of it, please hit subscribe. That's the best way to help the channel, and have a great one.